to be your president, and I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today because it truly matters. Thank you so much. I would like to invite, let's see here, Jay Davis, would you lead us in the pledge?
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I know it just kind of snuck up on me.
All righty. Songsters, do your thing.
That's the only ride that works. Oh, yeah, that's good. I could read it.
Well, since we're going to be talking about wine today, we figured what's more appropriate than red wine.
White one.
Maybe sparkling.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Red wine. Waves through my head, makes me forget that I still need a soul. Red wine, it's up to you. All I can do, I've done. But memories won't go. Memories won't go. Red wine. Stay close to me. Don't let me be alone. It's tearing apart my blue heart. I had sworn that with time, thoughts of you would leave my head. I was wrong. Now I find just one thing makes me forget. Red wine. Stay close to me. Don't let me be alone. It's tearing apart my blue heart. Thank you.
All righty, that was phenomenal. You all sung beautifully. Now we have our thought from the for the day from Trish Monroe.
Hi, everybody. So before I get started, I do have a PFA that is a public fact announcement that I just learned today, which is that falcons are not related to eagles. They are, in fact, assault parrots. I felt you all needed to know that. That is not my thought for the day, but it is important. Assault parrots, who knew? So this is switching to actually a more serious topic. When the sun goes down this evening, the Jewish month of Elul begins. And for me, as a Jew, that means it's time to begin reflecting on the year past and ask the people that I've wronged in some way for forgiveness. Now, before you all raise your hands and say me first, let me be clear. Anything I've done on the city council does not count. Forget it. Don't even try. So I'll be taking a Jewish path towards forgiveness, but, asking for forgiveness is a universal thing that all societies need as individuals, as members of communities, as members of families. And so I thought that it was worth talking about in an organization as community-minded as Rotary is. So how do we get to forgiveness? There's 5 steps. First of all, you have to recognize that you've done something wrong. You've made a mistake. You've hurt someone. It's accidental. It's on purpose. Doesn't really matter. You have to look inside yourself and pay attention to that. Now, it doesn't mean that you disagree with somebody. Disagreements are something else. That's not necessarily wronging someone. This is where an actual harm has been done. Second, you have to make a true apology. This isn't the, well, if you feel offended, then I guess I'm sorry. And it's not the, I'm sorry, but circumstances made it so I couldn't help myself. This is the, I was wrong and I am deeply sorry. What can I do to make things right? Or I know you believe I was wrong. I really disagree. Can we find a way to work through the disagreement? The third thing is you have to make amends in as much as it's possible. What do you need to do to repair the damage? And when is enough enough? Fourth, how do you do better? What information do you need? What practices do you need to put in place so that you can do better in the future? And finally, try again, knowing that you're not going to be perfect. And maybe it'll be wrong again, and then you'll try again and again. And then finally, what about the other person? What is their responsibility? You can try and you can try and you can try again. When you've made some number, Jewish law says 3 times, but again, universal thing, your mileage may vary. When you've fulfilled your responsibility, you've truly done your best. If it's still not accepted, that becomes the problem for the other person. We're all better when we take stock of ourselves. We're all better when we work to repair the damage, and we all make society better as we do that. So whenever you do it, whatever your tradition is, here's to making the world a whole, complete place by taking care of each other.
Wow, Chris. Trish, that was amazing. Thank you so much. All right. So going to do a little bit of announcement here. We've got our front line. I feel so excited. So for today, our Spur reporter, Tim Berry, Spur publisher, Ted Michaels, and our web mistress, I love saying that, Kathy Coyle, photographer, Irv Stowers, audiovisual, Don Wentz, thank you so much. Zoom host, I think, and chat monitor, Jeff Youngsma. Greeter, Christy Lusty. Oh, I can't see. And traveling Mike, I think Sonia, did you grab that puppy? Perfect. I want to thank Bob Bishop out and about collecting money for our 50-50 raffle. What are we up to now, Bob? $530. All right. Okay. Let's start with where's our little thing here? Okay. Visiting Rotarians. Let's reach out into Zoom land. Jeff, do we have any visiting Rotarians?
We have no visiting Rotarians and we have no guests.
All
So have a great day. Back to you, Sheila.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay. How about visiting Rotarians amongst us?
No, Richard. I was going to say it's my great pleasure, but I will bring that down to it's a pleasure. This is Richard Goldstein from the Morning Club, and he's an investment counselor. And listen to what he says. He's sometimes correct.
Oh, hello.
As we've been guided, Paul, I forgive you. Okay. Thank you.
Just one thing about this young man or old man, whatever he is. A million years ago, I was the president of the Rotarian Foundation of Livermore, and he was my immediate successor. And he tried to do his best, but he never came quite up to it.
Again, forgiveness. Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Richard. Hello, Richard. Okay. Okay. I think I saw Do we have another visiting Rotarian? No? Okay, how about guests of Rotarians? Oh, okay, we'll get right over to you, Ron. That's what I thought, actually. Okay, I will.
Following, as Paul just said, this is my successor. My guest today is PJ Wells. I am now the past president of the Symphony Guild, and PJ is the president of the Symphony Guild.
Hello, how are you doing? Very good. I think Ron brought a guest.
I'm happy to introduce my caregiver, Zakia.
What? And my guest today is Bob Gordon, and Bob, we have two new guests. Let's see them.
It's been a long time since I've been
Yes.
back. But anyway, I'm up in Amador County and I've been going to some of the Rotary groups up there. So anyway, it's good to see all of you back here. So
Well, it's nice to see you, Bob. Thank you for joining us today, Bob. Any other guests? Okay. All right. Announcements. Richard, I think you have a quick announcement. Can someone give Richard a mic, please? You got to talk right into the microphone.
I think many of you know that this last year, the Rotary Foundation of Livermore sponsored through a grant the program called Ambassadors of Compassion. We had a successful launch here at Junction K through 8. There'll be a lot more that we'll be sharing as a follow-up to that initial launch. But there's a lot of momentum building, and we're hoping and planning for the new year to have another program that will be put together in Livermore and now spreading throughout other communities with Rotary involvement. There'll be the guests. I just found out the other day at our September 30th Avenues of Service. So any of you that might be going, you'll have a chance to hear more about the program, how it works, and what they're doing, and the plans to grow this nationally. September 9th, Saturday afternoon, evening, there's a special event that many of you, I believe, have signed up already. Others that don't know about it, we put together a really wonderful, fun afternoon evening, a dinner in Tiburon at the Tiburon Hotel, followed by a sunset cruise on the Angel Island Ferry. We're having guests coming from all of the Bay Area, many other rotations. We have business leaders, mayors, foundation leaders, thought leaders, and just good people that all are coming together for a wonderful afternoon evening to think and talk about ambassadors and what this means. So if any of you are interested, I have some invites here. There are emails with the link that you can go check it out. See me after if you like. I'll be happy to share more, but if you're interested, we welcome you to come and have a wonderful afternoon, evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. All right. Okay, and Bob has a little announcement here. Do you want to, could you have the microphone, please? Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So last week we talked a little bit about the veterans in the area, Las Positas Veterans Group. They're hosting the 2.2 for 22 fundraising event, bringing awareness to the 22 veteran suicides that happen every day. I placed some sign-up sheets on all the tables. We would like everyone to consider signing up. It costs you $22 and the money goes towards supporting the veteran awareness with the Las Positas Veterans First program. If you give me the $22 and I rounded it up to 25 because there's a $2.32 sign up fee. If you give me $25 and you fill this out, I will sign you up. You don't have to do it. If you want to scan the QR code and do it yourself, you're more than welcome to it. And on the backside where you see my logo, there's a QR code that'll take you to my website as well.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll give you my 25 there, Bob. Perfect. Thank you. Dennis.
Rotarians, we've got an event coming up, the Veterans Stand Down on September 16th. Many of you have participated in the East Bay Stand Down in the past. This is an abbreviated one-day version. We're being asked to help out between 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock to pack lunches for these homeless veterans. And I'm going to be passing around a clipboard. Please do push your name on it. It says name, phone, email, and I'll get, before the date, I'll give you some feedback and we can all join up there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Dennis. We need to get the mic over to Bob Cowan.
Okay, well, school starts Monday in Livermore, and that means the Ready program starts soon after. We're going to try and start on September 11 or 18th, one of those 2 days. And I'll let you all keep you posted on it. But I pulled out an old photograph of a Ready group, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it. You can see the volunteers in back, and actually the young student with the blonde hair in the back row, she did so well in Ready. She became Rotarian of the Year. So this is a Ready group. One of the fellows that I think Alan has his hand on his shoulder will start his studying mechanical engineer at Cal this coming semester. The little girl down on the lower right is a prime candidate this year for valedictorian at Del Val High School. Her sister, who is the gal in kind of the aqua, stopped by my house 2 weeks ago, completely unannounced, knocked on the door, came at the door, and there's this teenage girl, and she said, I want to talk to Bob. And so she came in. I recognized it was Jessie Rios, and she had been in the Ready program. You know, a lot of people worked with her. We never really thought we connected. She's graduating, and she started last week studying marine biology at Monterey State. And she wanted to thank me and the Ready program for the nudges they gave to her for her life. So even when you don't think like you're connecting with these kids, you just make this big difference. So one of the other fellows there, I don't know what I talked to the gal laying down in the middle with the red hair is the teacher, Lori Valenzuela. I talked to her right before I came, trying to find out what happened to these kids. And all the kids that stayed in Livermore in this group either graduated from high school or seniors in high school, and most of them going on to college. The one fellow we couldn't track down had a heart transplant, believe it or not. And we took a collection 6 years ago and bought him a laptop computer. So the heart that you guys have. So next slide. So we start mid-September, as I said. We have about 10 to 14 kids every year. And this is one of those cases where we're not asking for money. It's easy. You know, we're really good at putting our money where our mouth is in Rotary, but this requires a reverse. You have to put you where your money was. I'm not asking for your money. I'm asking for your help. We're going to be short on volunteers this year. A couple of volunteers have told me they've kind of aged out because of health reasons. We really, really need volunteers this year. So let me know.
Thank you, Bob. On the cameras? You don't have anything? Okay. We'll move right along. Loretta, give us just a little update. This is coming down the pike on Friday.
Hello, Rotarians. This Friday from 2 to 6, we will be meeting at Maryland School. And we're going to do that to school barbecue. And I think I've sent an email. And I will send another one to remind everybody again. And if indeed you're saying, I never want to, I just sign up or whatever, but you like to do it still, hey, the merrier, the most people we have. So again, the address is 800 Maryland Avenue. It will be in the middle of the day, so you won't have any driving issues about late at night or anything like that. And it's just really a fun event. Please do remember to wear your Rotarian attire, your hat, your vest, and I don't know, any kind of swag you want. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Loretta. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to, if you have some time and you just want to show up, please do. It's always nice to have more. Okay, Sonia, give us the skinny, what we're going to be doing here for the next few weeks.
Okay, so we are reinstituting our Wine Down Wednesday, the last Wednesday.
That's for you, Jack.
It'll be the last Wednesday of every month going forward. It's a party. Please come. Please bring your happy face, a friend, a prospective member. And it's a good way to get to know our new members and each other outside of Rotary to be able to socialize together. It is going to be at Garay. We had to change our location. So Garay Winery is opening their tasting room to us. And you can, we have to buy their wine, but you can bring food if you like. There will be some food available, but please join us.
Yes, please. Sonia, thank you for going out and finding that venue. They're offering it to us for free. They're normally not open that hour. So if as many as possible could come and show up, even if it's just for a short time, we just want to show our support and hopefully they'll continue to do it. Thank you. All righty, Splend. Yeah, well, thank you, Sonia, by the way. And you too, Loretta.
Thank you, Sheila. So I'm helping coordinate knowledge of the Maui fires and how we can help the folks in Lahaina and Maui. You all got an email, I think, from the district governor. What I did is I printed a letter and I put several on each of your tables with a QR code. Just like our district has a foundation, the Maui district has its own foundation, and that QR code goes directly to that foundation. It's a 100% deductible contribution if you want to help the people in Maui. And that's some stats in case you don't know that this is the deadliest fire in U.S. history in over 100 years. So bigger than the Camp Fire in terms of deadly, bigger than even the Oakland Hills fire. So if we want to help out, and it's really important, I think we help, but I know my wife and I are going to make a contribution. And I got to tell you, I learned, I don't know if this was in the email, that the West Maui has like 3 Rotary clubs. Each of their presidents lost their home.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of people going out helping. I know that Kelly Bowers said there's a community foundation. I mean, feel free to donate however you want. I'm just going to give you Rotary related things, so that you know, because that's why we're here. But and I do want to thank, I don't think Keith is here, Keith Beck. He even offered, there's Keith, he offered a room in his home if anyone from the victims needed a place. I've since learned a lot more that apparently there's 2,000 hotel rooms are going to be made available for the victims to stay in. I even read today that Don Nelson, the ex-Warrior coach, is offering his rental homes free to victims. So there's a lot of help out there. And Keith, I kind of figured that was, you know, that's probably not the most immediate need. They need money, they need supplies, they need a lot of help. So please take a copy of the flyer, and I'll give stuff to Joel so he can send an email out later this week.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Splend.
Oh, and by the way, wait, sure. Did you know that today is National Joke Day?
You didn't spend.
But you have
I did not do you.
You guys know why the cop arrested the duck?
No, why, but
he was selling quack.
is that time worthy? Adala. I'm going to talk to Norm. Maybe we can look at some money to help Maui on behalf of the club. Maybe, and if I don't know how we go about doing this, if it's better if you donate direct or if we do something as a group with the club and gather donations, but we can talk more. Okay. All right. We've got a couple announcements here. Joel, can you come up here with your bag of tricks over there? We've got a couple minutes. We've got some recognitions that have been missed, and it's not for any other reason that we've just been like super busy. And so we're going to take a couple minutes here and recognize a few people that are so deserving of this. So we want to start with, these are plaques that just didn't quite get to their destination. So I'd like to call up our Rotarian of the Year, Gal. Gal, will you please come up? And this is something that definitely you have earned above and beyond, and we thank you on behalf of our Rotary Club for everything you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. You bet, you bet. Okay, and let's see if I could have Dennis O'Brien please come up. Look at, he has that look like, what did I do?
Could only find them.
Well, that's true. You know what? Joel just said I can always find you. Anyway, Joel is a recipient of our Rotarian of the Quarter. Or excuse me, Dennis. I'm sorry. Dennis was a recipient of our Rotarian of the Quarter. And with all that you do to make this possible for us, thank you. You bet. You bet. Thank you. And last but not least, we have a very special award that's given out. It's kind of what we call in the rodeo world top hand. And these are people that go above and beyond and do exceptional things to make a difference without being asked. They just do what they do. And this is the John Shirley Award. And this is for Loretta Caskey. And I think Yvonne Hopkins, she's not here, but okay. But Loretta, could you please come up? And Loretta, thank you. You work tirelessly trying to find projects and things for all of us to do, and we truly appreciate it. You go above and beyond, so thank you so very, very much for all the efforts and time you put in for our club. All right, thank you so much. Actually, probably those were yours, friend. Okay. It's a couple minutes before. So what I'd like to do is invite Jessica Carroll up next week. Sorry. I should look down. Next week's program. I don't think it's the 9th, but we'll go with it. How about the 23rd? But August 23rd, Global Uplift Project with Robert Freeman. So that would be interesting too. Okay, Carol, Jessica, come on up.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, thank you to the ladies for coming to speak to us today. My name is Jessica Carroll, and I have the pleasure of introducing 3 truly amazing women that I have this distinct honor of calling my friends. So Rosie is from Rosa Fierro Cellars. She is 100% Hispanic-owned winery specializing in handcrafted limited production wines here in Livermore Valley. She's over on Vasco, so Urban Winery, and her tasting room is located in the Vasco Row with 9 other wineries and 2 breweries around the corner. You'll always find Rosie with a warm smile welcoming you into her tasting room. So we've got Lisa, who is the winemaker at Charles R. since 2018 and the assistant winemaker at Page Mills since 2022. She has been in the wine industry for almost 15 years. Received her certificate of winemaking from UC Davis in 2012 and has worked at over half a dozen wineries since. She's excited now more than ever to be part of the amazing Livermore wine community and is excited to share information about the Women's Wine Collective today. Last but not least, we have Meredith, who is the owner and consultant of Barrel Down Wine Services, and she's also the winemaker at Rodrigue Molino over on Marina. She's worked in Livermore Valley wine country tasting rooms and the cellars since 1997. She reached winemaker status in 2013 and is now a consulting winemaker as well as the winemaker at Rodrigue. All right, ladies, I'll hand it over to you and they'll tell you a little bit more about the Women's Wine Collective and how we recently came into being.
Hi, everybody. I was tasked with talking about women in history in the wine industry.
So if we can go to the next, yeah, there we go. Okay. So I thought I would just talk about a few women since we're kind of short on time. The first woman that, they could find a report on as being the first woman in the wine industry was Eliza Shaw Hood. Her husband, she and her husband bought a winery in Sonoma in the late 1870s. And back then it was illegal for women to own any kind of business. So, of course she needed her husband to help buy the business. But unfortunately, he was committed to a local asylum after a few years of owning the winery. Not sure why. And she had to take over when he was committed. And this was pretty typical back then. Something would happen to the husband, they would die in some way, and the women would, instead of shutting everything down, they would just pick up the reins and keep going. So as far as we know, that was the earliest female winery owner in California, if not the country. And they grew mission grapes, which if you've ever had wine made out of mission grapes, it's really not that great. Yeah. So she ripped all of that out, and she planted several other varietals instead, including Cabernet, Riesling, and Semillon. And she also made a lot of brandy. So she made over 100,000 gallons of wine a year and 5,000 gallons of brandy. And then in 1897, she sold her winery to the Italian Swiss colony and then moved to San Francisco, where she spent the rest of her life. The second picture there, not a great picture, but it's the only one I can find on the internet. And that is Christina True. And with her husband, George, they bought the property, which is now Fenestra Winery. So they're Livermore history folk. They planted, that was in 1889. They planted over 200 acres of vineyards and made wine, brandy, sherry, and port. But unfortunately, after 7 years, George died and she took over. She added hundreds of acres of land, ran the winery, vineyards, dairy, livestock ranch, and crops of wheat, barley, and oats. And she was known as a very progressive and prosperous rancher in Alameda County, so she was pretty well known. But then, unfortunately, Prohibition shut everything down, and then she died a few years later. And then the last photo there is Catherine Baja. And unfortunately, I couldn't find a whole lot of information about her on the internet, which is really unfortunate. But she apparently was the first technically trained winemaker and female winemaker. And she worked at Kincannon from 1950 to about 1960 as their head winemaker. And apparently she also, before that, worked at Cresta Blanca, which is now Wente. So kind of cool that we have a couple of, lady firsts here, right here in Livermore Valley. So I'd like to turn it over now to Lisa.
Thank you, Meredith. How many of you are wine enthusiasts or wine drinkers? Okay. I was just curious. Okay. So Livermore is a very unique place for several reasons, but in regards to our wine industry here, it is unique in the sense that there are many more women statistically in leadership roles here in Livermore than any other place, really. And in California, that's a really tough statistic to hold. The other unique thing about wine here is that it is a very collaborative community, and we are constantly doing social things with our peer winemakers. We are collaborating, we are supporting each other. So this has been going on very informally in pockets for a long time. The way the Women's Wine Collective formed officially was that, we had a few women who were already doing this, already meeting or gathering, and thought, let's open this up to to see what the interest is across Livermore. So we formed our group very early this year, and our mission is to support, collaborate, and raise the bar for women in the wine industry through female-driven wines. I never get nervous till there's a microphone. Okay, I got some wines. And so what it did when we finally formed this group is it allowed us to put a focus on that mission, and it also invited us to widen the inclusivity of our group. And so we're not just winemakers, we have owners, we have tasting room managers, we have assistant winemakers, production staff, front of house staff. We run the gambit of all different positions throughout the wineries. So it's been really neat to connect with women all throughout the community and then create this own community of our own. Rosie has a few actual statistics of why this works and how women are growing in the wine industry. But our group is doing new things all the time. We've already held a handful of events. We have some coming up that we'll tell you about a little bit later. We support each other when there's questions. We have social gathering just for fun. So it's still evolving, but it is a really unique and special group of women.
I'm really short. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So before I start talking, I just thought it would be fun to read a job description of a cellar hand, which is someone who works in a winery. Okay, essential requirements: ability to work in confined spaces and at heights on high ladders or catwalks. Ability to lift 50 pounds repeatedly. Must be able to work with chemicals that require protective equipment, goggles, gloves, etc. Ability to sit, stand, and walk on uneven surfaces for long extended periods of time. Ability to perform work duties inside and outdoors in all types of weather conditions. Must have driver's license, of course, clean driving record, keen eye for detail. Ability to work extended hours on weekends, evenings, nights, and holidays during harvest. Proficient in basic math. Ability to use Google Drive. Knowledge and commitment to observe safety procedures and operate all types of equipment, machinery, including but not limited to forklifts, pumps, presses, filters, and pallet jacks. And the last one, high level of proficiency in forklift operation. So, this is the fun part. Compensation, $21 to $25 an hour. So who wants to sign up? So women in Livermore, as Lisa was saying, statistics are in the entire world, 14% of women are winemakers. In the United States, the number is 17.8%. We have 14% in the state of California alone, but in Livermore Valley, 27% are women winemakers. So we're super proud of that. We're very supportive of each other. It's not an easy job, as you can tell. It's a lot of physical strength. You know, we're really short. Well, Lisa's not, and neither is Meredith, but I am. It's hard to lift gigantic lids with short arms. You have to come up with very creative ways to move things from the top of a bucket to your hip, maybe, and then up to another thing, and then up, you know. So, but it's just it's so much fun. I just love it to death. It's just the best job ever. And so with that, and women-owned wineries in the entire world, only 4%. So, and I think there's 3 or 4 100% women-owned wineries in Livermore. So, but we have some really great events coming up. I'm not sure how to switch the slide. Okay, so the first one is Hints of Harvest. And Hints of Harvest is an evening with the women winemakers and the Women Collective. So There's, I think, 11 or 12 of us that will all be pouring, and it's at the Martinelli Center on Thursday, August 24th. Tickets are $40, and you can get them on either the Livermore Valley Wine Growers website or through one of the links on one of our websites. Each winemaker or women in the industry will be pouring their favorite wine, and they'll tell you all about their favorite wine at the event. There'll be food there. We're gonna have food trucks, so it should be really fun. Martinelli Center, if you've never been there, is really beautiful. It's kind of in the middle of the vineyards. So, and the other event we have coming up is Sunday, October 22nd. Now, this is in the middle of a really large event that we have in Livermore Valley called Taste. And Taste is 4 days of events that we have in Livermore Valley, and they're all, educational events or winemaker dinners and things like that that you can attend if you really love wine. So we are on October 22nd having a taste and talk with the Women's Wine Collective, which is going to be a panel discussion with some very influential women leaders in the industry. So it should be really interesting. It will be from 2 to 4 at Almost Famous Wine Lounge. And tickets are on the Livermore Valley Wine Growers website, $45. Well, I'm not sure, $55 or $45. So you'll have to look that up. But yeah, so does anybody have any questions? There's also wine in the back too, by the way, if in case anyone knew that.
So several of you noted that Livermore Valley is a leader worldwide in sort of the number of women winemakers that have a leadership role. So do you have any idea why that is? Is there something different about us here that has led to that community? Because the numbers are pretty dramatic. It's not like a percentage or two. It's double.
I would say, well, one thing for sure for me is other women winemakers in our valley are very, very supportive and real collaborative. The mentoring I've had is amazing. And we also help each other with groups like the Women's Wine Collective. So do you guys have anything to add?
I would just add that I don't think Livermore Valley is nearly as competitive as some of the other wine regions around. And it's I think it's a little bit easier here to come in and set up shop. We don't have it's less expensive to do that here. Land is cheaper here. And we've had like a really big boom in the last 15 years of wineries opening up. And so I would think that with that sort of growth, you're bound to have more women in the mix, but that's just my opinion.
Okay. I just had a quick question. When I know nothing about winemaking. I like to drink it, but I don't know anything about making it. The process with that now, all have to go to school? Is this something that is it years and years to figure out how to make that special little wine? Is there some special little, magic potion?
So that's a good question.
Yeah.
Great question. It's a different path for everybody, like many industries. Wine is a notoriously slippery slope. So for myself, it started off me becoming very excited about wine, and I would go wine tasting and places that I connected with, I would offer help and say, I'd love to learn how this works. Are you willing to teach me, or willing to let me work for you for free so I can learn what's going on? And that eventually turned into school and, formal education and a lot more work experience. But for a lot of people, it's a matter of learning on the job over years, or having a mentor that is teaching them along the way. And it can run the gambit of, what that spectrum looks like. So very formal to learning or teaching yourself in your garage.
So congratulations for pulling together a group that you've done to support each other. I think that's great. And maybe the statistics will continue to rise for the reasons that you said. I had a kind of a selfish question. One of the most fun events in the Livermore Valley, by my sort of sensibilities, was the Harvest Festival that we used to have around Labor Day. And it is like a major bacchanalia, which I think was part of the problem, that people people acting badly under the influence of hot weather and so on. And it's stopped, and I'm not sure exactly why, but are there any attempts to bring it back into the sort of incarnation that it used to have 20 years ago?
So I'm not from the Wine Growers Association, but I can tell you, just from being around for a while, they would try different iterations pretty much every year. It would be different. And a lot of things didn't really work very well. So I think they just, and a lot of, the smaller wineries that are in the association, where everyone was required to participate, and it was a lot harder for the smaller wineries. Because you're all expected to have live music and food and all these special things that they couldn't always afford. And it was, the far-flung wineries were harder to get to, so they wouldn't have as much traffic. So it became a financial burden for them. So I don't know if it's coming back, but it kind of almost seems like they're taking what used to be called Taste Our Terroir, which was held in July every year, and sort of putting that in its place, because now that is held in October this year and it's called Taste. So my assumption is that they're maybe trying to rebrand that as sort of the Harvest Festival, but I don't know. Rosie, do you know any?
That's actually true. So Taste will be the new kind of Harvest Festival. Also, though, if you have a favorite winery, or if you guys all wanted to do anything for Harvest, just go onto the Livermore Valley Wine Growers website or any of our individual websites, and you can see that each winery has their very own harvest celebration now, which could be anything from just like a special wine tasting to a party or a barbecue or a picnic. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Question. Months ago, we were told at this meeting that new plantings in the valley are now going towards varietals that handle cooler weather rather than hotter weather. Can you comment on this? Is this true?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's kind of being spearheaded by people like Stephen Mirasu and the Wenties, because there was a recent study done on our climate, because it was, assumed for a very long time that Livermore was too hot to grow grapes. So they decided, let's finally prove this wrong. And they were able to prove that we are actually a warm climate for growing produce, not a hot climate. But the thought is that as the Central Valley heats up, that will pull more marine influence into this area. And that's why they're looking at, maybe planting cooler climate varietals, like Cabernet Franc is a really big one that we're kind of trying to adopt as our main grape for the valley. So that's kind of in the works. So I guess time will tell, but it is based on, scientific theory. So.
Do you have any sort of outreach program with the Renology program at Las Positas College? Is there a pipeline for them to come learn the ropes, work with you folks?
So I'm I'm on the board of the foundation there, so I guess I'll take this one. So there's an organization called Friends of Open Space and Vineyards, and for a long time now they've been donating scholarships to people that want to either take viticulture or enology classes, and that's been going on for a long time and still is. We do have a lot of graduates that come out of there and go into wineries in different capacities around here, including tasting rooms. There's a program for learning how to, hospitality in the tasting room. And the goal was always to try to keep the graduates around here. So hopefully that is happening.
Hi, this is a great presentation, really, really interesting. So I'm wondering about the inreach, the building your group versus the outreach, educating the community. And I'm wondering if you had one ask for this group, what would it be?
When you ask for this, what would it be? Like if we wanted something from Rotary to help us, what would it be?
I would say visit your local tasting rooms and go wine tasting. Absolutely. Come by and visit us. You know, what's cool about Livermore is it's a really affordable place to go wine tasting in comparison to other regions. The wines here are fantastic. They're exceptional. And you can walk into a lot of tasting rooms and meet the winemaker right there pouring for you on site. And even sometimes if the winemaker or whoever's pouring is not busy, you might even be able to get a little tour of the back room or whatever might be going on back there. So it's really fun and it's a great opportunity to learn. So yeah, come by and visit us.
Jessica, do you have anything to say about that? I feel like you'd be the best person to answer that question.
Yes.
Oh, I meant the last question.
The last question?
About how Rotary could help.
Rotary can help.
Organization.
I think that was a great answer. Supporting your local tasting rooms, especially if there's a female winemaker, you guys.
Okay, this is just a comment relative to that, but I think it will interest you very much. You may remember several weeks ago, we heard from the Vice President for Marketing of Monarch Tractor, who did its first developmental tests out in the Winnie Vineyards and is based here. If you've not seen the business chatter, is the first unicorn to come out of the Livermore Valley. It is now $1 billion company.
I was just going to say that there's some wine in the back, and one of the wines that I bought, I'll just tell you a little bit about them. The wine I brought is an oak Chardonnay. Chardonnay can be made really buttery and full bodied, or it can be made kind of very crisp and bright and clean with no butter and no oak on it, which is how that Chardonnay is made. It's from a small vineyard called Block 12 over on Cowtop Common here in Livermore. And Lisa brought.
So I brought Rosé of Grenache from Page Mill Winery. The rosé is named for Dane Stark, who is the owner and winemaker at Page Mill. It is named for his wife, Angela. So that is Angela's cuvee. And those grapes are picked specifically to make rosé. So the style is a little bit brighter, lighter, crisper, and perfect for a day like today.
And why is rosé pink, Lisa?
So rosé is pink because with the exception of maybe 3 or 4 grapes, all juice in any grape, white or red, is white. There's no color to the juice. So the color comes from the skins of the grapes, and that rosé gets its color from the berries getting crushed and then maintaining their contact with the juice for just a few hours, which is why it's pink and not all the way red like a red wine. And that's where the color comes from.
And I brought a 2017 Reserve Cabernet Sauvignon. It was started by the previous winemaker and finished by me because I didn't get there till 2018. So the grapes are grown right there on site in front of the owner's house. So
one last question. You know, there is the adage in the wine business, there's a guaranteed way to make a small fortune in the wine business. And of course, that start with a large fortune. And so to that, how are the economics for a small winery? I mean, maybe you guys aren't all in charge of the dollars and cents, but you must have a pretty good sense of, is it going okay for smaller folks like you guys, or is it a pretty rough haul still?
So I'm the winery owner here. Yeah, it is really rough haul. I just started really location. So I've found a really good location recently. I'm about 3 years in, and it's just like growing any other business. You just really have to, grow your wine club, know your members, know your customers, what they like, make what they like, and just make it a wonderful, enjoyable spot for everyone to come to.
Ladies, amazing. Let's give them a big hand. Wow. Okay. So we normally provide our guests with a bottle of wine, but in this case, that's kind of silly. So it's, yeah, so what we have though, local production, maybe it's not quite wine, but it's in the same vein, it's in a bottle. We have some of the Olivina olive oil.
Oh, I love it.
And now you guys can cook something for us. You're welcome. Thank you so much. God, let's give them a big hand. Thank you. And let's see. You know, we've got a minute here. Now, there's a couple little things that I reestablished. You know, that was the 50-50 raffle, the clipboards. But there was another thing that I reinstituted, and that was the fines for phones. And I know sometimes those phones get a mind of their own. And I feel really bad when that happens. But, you know, and the other thing too is that I love the fact that my club works as a team. And you pull together and turn in your fellow Rotarian, right? So, Jack, I'm so sorry. Because you know we love you. We love you, Jack. And I'm thinking that phone of yours, it's got a mind of its own, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Oh, you turned it off 3 times. Well, I'm going to send, where's Bob over here? Bob will come see you. Thank you for being a good sport. All right.
I'll be finding him.
Yes, well, I'll leave that up to you and him. Okay. I just love how all your eyes light up when a phone goes off, and especially when it's not yours. There we go. And you're helping the community. Thank you so much. Okay, so next week, we have Robert Freeman, Global Uplift Project. We are going to be here. So just so you know, you don't have to put on your traveling shoes. We're going to be right here. Once again, I want to thank you ladies for bringing the wine today. That was absolutely fantastic. I hope you all had an opportunity to enjoy some. Jessica, thank you for making that possible. 4 a.m. discussion. Thank you so much. And we do have our raffle, the 50-50 raffle. Can you check my tickets? You could do that. I'll split it with you if you. Yes.
Did everybody put half their ticket in this thing right here?
Doesn't really matter.
Norm, thanks for picking up the light lunch. It's very nice. Thank you.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you know, I'm going to tell you, I don't grab the bent ones, you know.
Okay. Oh, Jesus. Last 4914. Bob Cowan. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to thank each and every one of you because it matters that you're here today. So thank you.